Hey guys, how are you? Hope you're all doing very well. This evening I have another movie review. This movie is an animated film from Denmark, Danish language, English subs, but don't worry if you don't like subtitles, there is also an English dub out there that will cater for your needs. Released in the year 2004, directed by a trio of directors. You've got Kristen Vestberg Andersen, Thorborn Christoffersen, and Stefan Fedmark, and this film is called Terkel in Trouble. So the story to Terkel in Trouble, it centers upon the main character of Terkel, and he is indeed in trouble. He is a young boy at this high school, and he's been bullied by two of his classmates, and the bullying is gradually getting worse, and he's finding himself overwhelmed by this. So he's very distraught. His family have problems of their own, so they seem to not notice Terkel, along with his friend as well. So he's left to fend for himself. Now things are complicated. Not only does he have to contend with bullying, but he's paranoid that somebody is following him and wants him dead. So whether or not that is paranoia or in fact he's onto something, that's something you're going to have to find out for yourself, because that's as far as I'm going with my synopsis. Now my thoughts on Terkel in Trouble. This is really a movie just for provocation. Now, it reminded me of the TV show South Park. If you're a fan of South Park, you will know that they take very provocative themes, very relevant themes to today's society, themes that are taboo as far as making fun of them are concerned, and they just put them out there to make fun of them, to mock them, and it feels like the directors of South Park are bullies themselves, but they're there and they don't take themselves too seriously, but they're just taking taboo subjects that no one else is game enough to make fun of, and they just do it for that, to provoke a response, and that's all it is. So it works well in South Park, but coming into Terkel in Trouble, it really feels like they're doing the same sort of thing, and that they're just trying to provoke a response, and that it's nothing else. And therefore, Terkel in Trouble does come across as a very empty experience. You feel as though it had the recipe to be something very memorable, but in the end, it does feel very hollow. It feels like you've just watched a movie. Yes, it was worthwhile as far as a black comedy is concerned, but at the end of the day you feel like this is not the type of film that I'm going to watch again in a hurry, and that was the ultimate downfall to the film. Now I will say that there are a lot of things to like about it. Now, number one, it's a film that you can't take yourself seriously for. So if you're a sensitive person, if you don't like themes that are mocked in a humorous way, then definitely stay away from it. But if you're a fan of black comedy, I felt that this film really captures the essence of black comedy very, very well. There is a fine balance of a comedy and then feeling really bad for laughing at what's happened. And that I found myself laughing and then feeling really bad throughout the entire movie. So it's consistent in the black level of comedy. And that's not all the time that this happens in a black comedy, because you feel that other directors from other films feel like they're restrained. They feel like they're afraid to make and push the boundaries because they're going to get a very negative response. And I feel that some of the problem of that, and they're confined to what they're doing, is because they can't get away with as much in real time. So the fact that this was made in animation was its benefit, because it can push those boundaries. And for those people who want something with a little bit of balls and want something that is not afraid to push the boundaries that step further, then Terkel in Trouble is definitely going to appeal to you. So it's a very, very morbid sort of tale. It's about bullying. It's about mocking bullying. It's basically bullying perspective. It's not a film that's going to tell you how bad bullying is. You've seen countless films like that lecture you about, bullying is bad, suicide's a major problem, that sexuality put onto children is deplorable. We already know that. We don't need to be told every single time that a film is made that this happens and that this is bad, because we already know. And it's kind of like an insult, insulting our intelligence, because it's like we're opening our eyes to the bad things for the first time. So it's good to see that the film, although it's kind of in a negative way, that it kind of feels like it's pro-bullying and it's pro all this kind of thing because it's making light of it. On the other hand, you've got to take it for what it is. It's a black comedy. And it's the same thing. Why do we find murder in horror comedies so funny? It's such a deplorable thing happening, but why do we find it funny? It's because it's done in an exaggerated way. It's done in a comedic way that we can't take ourselves seriously, that it feels like it's from a different dimension. So when you come to criticize this film, you can't really say, well, why do you think this is funny? Because it's like the same thing with a horror comedy. It's done in a way where you can't really take it seriously, that it feels like, yes, it does have a sinister approach, it has a malicious intention, but at the same time, it's really exaggerated. It's an animated film, and it doesn't feel like they're trying to really take a shot at bully victims. It shows bully victims as weak, and it shows the bullies as kind of like the heroes in the film, but it's done in a way where, as I said, it's a black comedy. It's not a real sort of commentary on today's society. It's a film that the directors feel like they are having fun, although it is very sort of morbid fun. They are having fun, and that's something that you can't forget. So if you want to go in and you want to criticize that aspect of the film, it's kind of a case of what you see is what you get. What you hear about the film is what you get, so you can't really complain. You know, it's kind of like putting your finger under hot water and complaining that you've been burnt. So be very careful. Sensitive people do not apply for the film, but if you're a fan of the black comedy, I felt that they really nailed that aspect of it very, very well. I thought the music to the film was decent, although it kind of feels like a musical in some parts, and I think that was a distraction. I thought it would have been better to cut that part out of it. Although the songs are very well done, I thought, yeah, it just didn't really fit in very well. Towards the end, it gets very, very silly, and I feel that it outstays its welcome, which is a problem because it only goes for 67 minutes. So it's over before you know it, but by the end of it, it feels like they've run out of ideas, and they're just kind of making it sillier and sillier, and it's just snowballing for the sake of making a feature film. So it has problems, but as far as the black comedy, are concerned, I would highly recommend it for anyone out there who likes to be provoked and likes taboo subjects to be made light of. It is a film that I'm not going to say is lack of any humanity, because there are moments of the film that have a lot of warmth to it. So it kind of gives you the impression that it's not only made to provoke an angry response, it is made for a purpose. Although that purpose is very shallow, I felt that the movie has more depth than something of South Park would. You know, South Park made for the sole intention of provoking a response, whereas this one, it has at least some warmth to it, but it's not enough to hold the film up to make it a very good one. I thought the dark aspect of the movie does hold it down a little bit. It does prevent it from being a sensational film, but overall, it is a good film, and it's one that I would recommend. So overall, I'm going to give Terkel in Trouble 3 stars. As far as black comedies are concerned, it's one of the better ones, but as I said, there are problems to the film that prevent it from being a classic. Alright guys, that's my review. Hope you enjoyed it. Till next time, keep watching movies, and I'll see you later.